Okay, you guys know the drill. Washout long, shorts get screwed, big bank for mad ass. Cue the music. Okay, let's talk about DPW today. Washout long, another textbook washout long. What an epic stock. This stock's been in play for, I believe, a total of 14 days. Can you believe that? 14 days. When was the last time we've seen a stock in play for practically 3 weeks and counting? And let's just jump right to it. Basically, what's going on with this stock has been on fire. Every single time it tries to dump, it recovers. See these huge red candles? Bounces back, bounces back. Look at all these recoveries. Every single time you get a big red candle like that, you got the shorts pile on thinking it's over, and it gets compounded, compounded, compounded. Stock gets ripped to even higher to higher highs. More shorts get caught, bigger short squeeze we're going to get. So if you do notice DPW, over the course of the 14 days it's been in play, like I said, it's been in a constant gradual uptrend despite the big dumps, and today was a big day because if you look at the daily chart, the previous highs right here, 510, gapped over 510, that means that every single short, even the top tick shorts, were stuck at this point. They were all underwater. Therefore, it was a very easy call to go long for the washout long, even though I do understand that there are outstanding warrants that were probably exercised today, which you will see in the live trading footage, that probably damped this move. This thing probably would have ended up going to 650 or 7 if there were no warrants that needed exercise dilution or whatever. But the bottom line is you got a very favorable chart pre-market. Shorts from 510 and under, which was the previous highs of the prior move, all underwater. They need to cover. You got a nice little spike at the open there. Stock went from 525 to low, 595 to top. Like I said, there was some heavy tape action, which did cause me to sell a little bit early as always, but whatever. It is what it is. So you guys know how this thing works. I don't have to re-explain myself. Just watch all the other washout long videos for more thorough explanation behind the logic behind the washout long. So let's just jump right into the footage. Alright, let's pick it up here. 3 minutes before the market opened, 2.5 minutes before the market opened. I'm looking at DPW, one of the nicest setups you'll see that we've seen in a while since pretty much the DCIX. Gap up over all of the shorts, even the best possible entry for the shorts, which is 510 here in DPW. So I'm looking at a washout long, around that 510, 520 area. And you'll see that I get in with a pretty aggressive position as you know, basically the washout long. You get a nice spike at the open off of the first dip, just due to the shorts covering. They're in pain, obvious pain. No need to reiterate that. You guys know the drill. 1 minute to go. Also keeping an eye on Riot here. Riot was also a nice washout long as well, which you could have taken as an alternative play to DPW. 24 was the previous prior highs, though there were bag holders from yesterday's run up to 33, which is why I didn't go with it. But there was a nice, I think, $3 per share gain there. If you decided to go with Riot, you still would have made some pretty good money. CHFS was also a gapper day, and also PTI was a stock that could have been a bag holder short for you today. So let's check it out. DPW at the open. Let's see what it does. Looking at that dip here below 530. You see me get in 10,000 shares already. 520. Get in with a little bit of a starter there. Getting in with another 10,000 shares here. You can see a little stall here at 530. 30,000 shares now. Now you see the bids prop in there, 530. Try to get in with a couple more shares and I don't get filled. Now you know it's taken off. Now you got a big offer there. Let's slow it down. You got a big offer there at 550. Now that has me on my back foot a little bit, but you can see that the stock is not really reacting very negatively to the big offer. It's actually getting eaten out. So boom, right through it. 560s, already up 5 figures in just a minute and 30 seconds. Trying to sell here. You see me fill a little bit. Already took off about a third of my position there. Trying to see if I can bust through that 570 level. And all out. Right there, lock it in. Almost $11,000 in profits, guys. Look at the clock. Only 2 minutes into the day. I did end up selling a little bit too early. I was very wary of that 585 pre-market high. Tried to front run it a little bit too little. I guess I could have sold it maybe at 75 or 80 realistically, but sold it. That big offer did kind of have me a little bit scared. Like I said, I did understand that there were warrants that were outstanding that needed to be exercised. So I was thinking maybe those were the warrants, and they might just dump this thing and pile it back down. But hey, I can't complain. Made some good gains. Yeah, I left money on the table as always, but better be safe than sorry. Can't complain about $11,000. Now, at this point, I'm looking for the next dip. Next dip on DPW, and this is where I made a pretty bad decision. Aggressively got in way too much, way too early. You see me get in here. 5,000 started at 80, but this thing kept dumping, and I added way too many shares way too soon. You'll see right here. Another 5,000 shares. I was thinking maybe it would hold that prior high there, that pre-market high to 585, and then rip to 650 or something like that. But it looks like maybe they're dumping in this move now. I'm up to 15,000 shares. Like I said, not a good trade, guys. This is an example of a really good trade. I'm really glad I got this on tape. So you see a good trade and a bad trade at the same time. You should not be adding this much, and you should not be sizing this much on your secondary trade, because obviously you're going to put yourself in a situation where you might lose all your profits if this thing dumped all the way back down. The dilution dumped it. It would have been pretty bad. So definitely don't do that next time. Moving forward, just take your small position, half size or something like that. Have a max size, maybe in this case around 10,000 shares from here. That I should not have added all the way up to this big position right here. You see it dropped all the way back down to 540s, a 50-cent drop. Did one final add here. Again, not the best decision. Got a 564-ish average. Thankfully, it did catch a bit there in the 550s. You can kind of see the level 2 there stacking on the 550s. You got a little bit of a prop. Stock goes back over at the 560s level, and thankfully I'm going to be able to sell pretty soon here, I think. Let's see what happens. Again, I'm always keeping an eye on the montage at level 2. You know, you want to see those bids hold up. There might be hidden offers on the ass that's holding it down, keeping this thing from running. If there wasn't any dilution, I'm very confident this thing probably would have ran to 650 and beyond. But like I said, there are outstanding warrants in this thing. They can exercise them at any time. You know, you got to be able to read the tape and see what's going on. If the tape's acting heavy and not right, you got to size down, protect yourself. Now, you still got those 550s kind of holding up right here. Again, still got the finger on the trigger. I'd probably stop out if this makes a higher low or something like that and ends up dropping back below 550. But 550 seems to be holding firm as a bid, and you'll see the stock move back over 570 in a couple minutes, I believe. There we go, and I end up selling it all out at 570 just to be safe. Again, don't like this tape. It's not that squeeze. You know, if you watch the DCAX video, for example, that thing was just like a train, a raging bull. It just was running over everything in sight. But this one, it doesn't feel right. You know, it's just kind of choppy. It's dancing around. It did catch a bit, thankfully, at 550. You know, to save me bail me out from my really, really bad trade oversizing. But overall, you know, that's the only reason why I held. I saw that 550 bid, but the thing is, you know, it ripped. It should have ripped to 6 on that dip. Okay, you know, you got that move right out of the gate, basically a 6 test off of the original washout long. You got the shorts all underwater from the move prior to this for like 14 days. You would expect this thing to ramp like crazy. Shorts should be panicking, you know, like in masses. And, you know, like, you didn't see that. So I didn't feel this tape. I left it alone after this trade. You know, locked in $12,550 in, what was that, like 7 minutes. So at this point, you know, got to count my blessing on that last trade. Could have easily lost like, you know, 5-6 grand or something like that. But overall, the takeaway from this action is that it just doesn't look right. You know, it should have just ripped like crazy. It should have just taken off. Right? It did that first spike. It gave us that first spike that we expected, that bum rush spike out of the gate. That was something that I expected. But this dip, you know, it dipped back down to like 550, only bounced like 20 cents. Doesn't sound right. So left it alone at this point. And in a couple minutes here, we're going to get a couple stocks on scanners. LTEA was a stock that I was already watching. It's already took off. Didn't get in on it because I didn't think the volume was high enough. Did try to buy the dip here. Small size. Didn't think I get much out of it other than a couple Big Macs. But at this point on DPW, you'll see that it'll hold that 550 bid pretty firm. You don't know why they're doing it. Maybe they're propping the 550 so they can dump their warrants over 550. Who knows? But besides the point, from a trader standpoint, there just isn't enough meat on the bone. There's just not enough range right now. It's dancing around at a 20-cent range. You can't really make a trade in that situation. So you still see that 550 right there. You see that bid prop. It's holding up very well, but again, there's just not really much there. You can't really make a trade in that situation. But that washout long off of that first trade, that initial spike was really, really obvious. Hopefully you guys got that read right there. The bounce off of against that 510, all the shorts were caught. Textbook washout long. Rip out of the gate. Sold a little bit too early because I got a little bit scared of that huge offer at 550. But you can kind of see that once the bids thinned down, when you saw me not get filled on my last attempt to add, the ask thinned out. There were no more sellers. There were no more shares for me to fill. Couldn't really do much about it. So that basically was an indicator that the offer was thinning out and that the stock was pretty much primed to run. It was going to squeeze. So that was pretty much the last chance to get in if you wanted to long this thing, or a chance to cover if you were short that thing for a minimal loss. So you saw the bids prop there in the 530s at the open, and then once the ask thinned out, the rest is history. Yeah, your textbook washout long. I got my $12,000 in 7 minutes. Hopefully you guys nailed. Everyone's a winner. So right here, watching LTEA and also watching CPAH, which is also another stock on scans. CPAH was a really nice wallet pattern later on. Maybe I got a couple of trades here on tape, but Mara also breaking out of pre-market highs. Really active morning. Lots of good tickers moving. You had also XNet moving, Riot also moving, and of course LTEA and CPAH off scanners. But ironically, DPW, a lot of volume, just no range. So obviously something going on there. They're definitely diluting, selling heavily into the move, not letting it run. So can't do anything about it. You can also see that Riot proved to be a pretty nice washout long as well. Nice little pop out of the gate. Another good takeaway from this video is that a lot of you guys keep asking me how I draw my lines and all that for the supports and resistances. You guys can actually watch and observe me do my what I call the technical analysis on the fly, the TA on the fly, where I just draw my lines. You see me get my lines from the daily chart and all that. Pretty nice, nice for you guys to see me, draw these lines live and how I use them to make my trades. And then still nothing going on DPW. 15 minutes into the day already. Now CPAH is halted. It has my attention here. Still low volume, but definitely has a lot of potential. Look at that, 52-week highs looks like there. So there you go, your technical analysis on the fly. That's how you do it. Draw your lines. So every time I'm tweeting my supports and resistances on Twitter, I'm not pulling these numbers out of my ass, guys. They're pretty obvious levels that you can pull from a historical chart. Most of the time it's a daily chart. Sometimes it could be an hourly chart, or even as far as a monthly, weekly, or monthly chart. However long it takes for you guys to go and get a full picture of what you think is going to happen. That's all you need. There's no rule set in stone that it has to be the daily chart, it has to be an intraday chart or whatever. Just go back as far as you need to see a full picture, and therefore you can actually have something to base your risk off of. You cannot take a trade unless you have a risk level to base off of, or else you're just straight up gambling. So as you can see, sit in my hand, nothing really going on. I'll probably pull off some Big Mac trades here, I think on LTEA and also on CPAH, and also maybe Riot as well. But other than that, the big money trades on DPW and also Riot, if you decide to take that, and it's pretty much over at this point. So I did fill a couple shares here on LTEA, going for the Big Mac scalp. Unfortunately, I don't think I filled all my shares here, so I was actually down on this position. Do note the huge red volume on LTEA. I didn't notice that actually, or else I probably wouldn't have attempted this bounce play. Heavy selling into that move. The green candle, the volume a lot lighter than the red volume on that that little push to high a day, and it slammed back down. DPW trying to go back up, really not much conviction. It's just kind of just look at the volume. The volume is diminished substantially on this secondary move. You don't really see any influx of buyers, you know, no panic. You know, you want to see people just freaking out and just panicking. I mean, we looked at the market as of late. We've seen stocks that are seemingly dead come back from the dead, and DTW has done that multiple times, but it's not doing that right now. You know, it's popping here and there, but it's not really giving us that freak push, you know, that push to high a day. I want to see this thing run to 650, and it's not doing that. All right, so CPAH going for a little quick trade here. No fill, unfortunately. On that 4 there, so I have to wait for the next dip. All right, get in there at 420. There we go. Nice little quick scalp here. I only filled 500 shares, but a little quick win there. $200 off 500 shares. That's 40 cents per share gain. Not bad. 420 out 460. LTA just acting a little bit annoying. Did take one last try here. Only got 1,400 shares. It was not the end of the world. Got back in on CPAH right there. Selling it for another quick $150. Like I said, these are just Big Mac scalps, guys. There's stocks trading at a much lower volume. So I'm just doing 1,000 shares. Nothing too crazy. Even if I lose on the trade, I lose a couple $100. I'm already up 12 grand in a day. You know, I already put myself, you know, in danger on that really bad oversizing on that DPW trade where I got lucky. So, you know, at this point, learned my lesson. Let's just scale back a little bit. Try to add a couple $100 here and there, and not ruin my day. Now you see DPW did a really nasty stuff there. That really nasty wick on that candle. More showing us that it's not really ripe enough to get ready for a prime run. You know, it's just dancing around, no range. Can't do anything about it still. CPAH now going to make another move. All right, so back to the video. CPAH, double top in there so far. I believe this video is running to about 10 o'clock, so I got 8 minutes left. Not sure if I make any more trades. Finally, I was able to get out of LTEA there for literally a packet of ketchup. You know, not really anything going there. I just wanted to get out at that point. It was pretty much a stupid decision, and I recognize that. Let's see if there's anything else. Not so sure. Not so sure if I caught my CPAH trades later on where I added like $1,500 or something like that to my day. Maybe not. But you guys can see the quality of the plays really drastically diminishes as time goes on. You know, you got your nice little bum rush out of the gate. This is why I put so much emphasis on the open, because at the open you got the biggest volume, you got the biggest range, you got the easiest reads, provided that you're fast enough to take advantage of it. Obviously, a lot of people, they're scared to play the open because they're afraid of volatility, and at the same time they're also not fast enough. So, you know, as long as you're able to train yourself to be really quick on your feet, the best trades are always going to be at the open. The big money trades are always going to be at the open, as indicative of the fact that I'm able to bank the 5-figure win at the open, and after that it's kind of tough. You know, it's kind of like a crapshoot whether or not you get a nice play or not. You know, you get some maybe grind, chop, no range, as you can see in DPW. I mean, you missed the open on DPW, you really don't really have much of another chance to get in. You know, once it started chopping around, you can't really do much about it. But you know, that's just my 2 cents about trading the open. Nail that first trade, focus on that first trade, get that big win out of the way. Then the rest of the day feels a lot less stressful. You're not tempted to force a trade to find something to make up for that big win or something like that. That's just me. You know me, I'm always about minimizing stress, making things easy, simple, keeping it simple. Just get that big win out of the way. It feels a lot better for the rest of the day. Alright guys, I think that's probably it. I think I made one more minor trade on Ride, but really nothing really substantial. But overall, hopefully you guys found this helpful. There's the trade on Mara. I guess I made a trade on Mara. Well, we'll just keep talking while I make this trade. It's just a Big Mac scalp. So yeah, hopefully you guys found this very helpful. It's just another textbook washout long. Nothing really new. I've had multiple videos about this same exact trade over and over again just to prove the point that this is a very, very nice and easy setup, provided that you're fast enough to, you know, take advantage of it. And that's the key. A lot of people complain about not being able to do this correctly. It's probably because you're too slow. Let's be honest here. You know, just because you're trying to drive just because you bought like a really nice stick shift car and you can't drive stick shift, it's not the car's fault. It's because you just can't drive stick shift, right? It's because you suck. You know, the same thing here. Just because the setup is there and you're too slow to take advantage of it, it's not the setup's fault. It's not the strategy's fault. It's just because you're too slow. So I think a lot of people, you guys just gotta, you know, work on that speed, work on recognizing that tape. I know it's not easy. It took me a year to master. Work on you know, getting that support and resistance down. No FOMO. Wait for that entry, and just execute, guys. Come up with a game plan. Just execute. That's all it really is. Alright guys, so I'm going to wrap this video up. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. See you guys next time.